meeting of Young Academics 2022 USA and the launch of the SLAYS global arm. So I introduced SLAYS in the morning. So SLAYS, as just if I may go through very fast, it's an academy of early to mid career scientists. Age limit is 45, and we have to have a PhD, and current membership we have 150, and we have the mission, and mission I explained in detail in the morning. So we have to, our basic target is to support Sri Lankan young scientists in all the ways that we can. And I discussed about the disciplines that we have all. This is multidisciplinary. Right, and we organize various things. Today you'll be able to see the 3-minute thesis competition. And these photography competitions, outreach programs, conferences, and all of these things we organize. Right, and if I may come to this main body of my presentation, SLAYS is a proud member of GYA. GYA is the Global Young Academy, where they make sure they discuss the problems of the young scientists around the globe. And when I was first, I was invited to a Global Young Academy meeting. It was online in 2020. Then I was very happy to participate. I thought, okay, now I'm a scientist, and I have a PhD in biotechnology, so I know science and I know global issues, so this is my place to be. So let me, and they divided us into groups, and I went there thinking, okay, I could contribute. And there were a few talks, and I was listening to them, and there they were talking about directives, working groups, policy, economics, and I was wondering, all these are scientists. I came here to learn science and how the science can be brought forward. So I was just thinking, what are they talking about? And all these scientists from all around the globe, they were well aware. What I felt was they were well aware about what's happening in their respective countries and how the economies are formed, and they were talking all these big terms. Actually, I felt like a fool. So then with some, thereafter in 2022, now then the COVID happened, I managed to participate for a few more meetings. Then I started reading about the policies, the economics, because I was curious. Now everybody knows that. I don't think my friends were at all interested about learning these things. And they were like resistant to these terms. And I saw a very big gap. And when I was invited to the Young Academy Conference 2022, I was very happy to participate, because I think they have understood that I didn't know most of these things, but I wanted to learn, so maybe that's why they invited me. So that interesting the gathering took place in Arizona, USA, in a place called Biosphere 2. This Biosphere 2 is another interesting place. That's why I took this slide here. It's a man-made Earth. They call the Earth the Biosphere 1, and the Biosphere 2, you can manipulate any ecosystem. You can have, it has had the sea, the forests, whatnot, the mangroves. So if you want 100-degree Celsius sea, you could get it. So it was an interesting place for research. So a lot of research had been happening there. I just included that because it was, as a scientist, I found it very interesting. Right, and the conference theme was harnessing inclusive excellence, harnessing knowledge for sustainable societies. There were 220 participants from 60 countries and 70 young academics participating in person, including Sri Lanka. And the main topics that they discussed were climate justice, inclusiveness in open access publishing model, lessons of innovation that can be taken from the COVID-19 pandemic, at-risk scholars, science advice by young academics. Right, so let me, if I may go into detail, a little bit of detail about these things. So they wanted to increase all these young academics, and there were senior academics as well present. So they all wanted to increase collaboration and, think outside the box, make sure the ecosystems are formed, the things are in place that the scientists could discuss various things, to discuss their ideas coming from different disciplines. And then the inclusiveness in open access and publishing model, this was not written anywhere. Whatever I put it, the points are what I realized and what I understood. We all agreed and we realized that the entire scientific world is aware that the handful of expensive elite publishers run the scientific publication industry. Most of the time, we don't go that far. We don't want to, we don't dream about publishing in Nature. We don't dream about publishing in big journals. So this is not a problem for us. I was nodding and they were discussing, yes. Then all are money-based, which is really sad. Most of these elite journals, they are like running on money, and that was really sad. And scientists can hardly do anything about it because of its solid establishment. This is also a thing that they discuss. It is there, but what can we do? So changes in challenges faced by the young academies. So the young academies discussed low level of membership engagement. That was, yes, we also face it time to time. Issues of member selection and support and recognition by third parties. Challenges because of the pandemic, diversity, then no funding, no staff, no support from parent academy, capacity building and leadership training, what is needed to meaningfully increase collaboration between YAs. And this was interesting here. They were like, I went there to learn from them, and I'm very happy that I was able to give them something. They were like, how do you earn money? How do you do all these projects? We are like, we try to collaborate with industry, and we try to collaborate with industry, and they support us with funding. So that part, I don't think most of the academies were like, maybe there were a few, but that I managed to tell them, so I'm very happy about it. Then I was given the opportunity to talk about science diplomacy and the collaborations. Then I took Sigiri as an example and explained to them scientific collaborations are nothing new to us. We have used the architecture, the engineering, and the horticulture, agriculture, all the sciences together to bring out this wonder, the eighth wonder of the world, Sigiri. So then to take science forward, you have to make sure that you make use of the arts, you make sure that the arts and other types of aesthetic subjects, and you have to make sure that the people's hearts are touched when these major global issues are taken forward. Otherwise, those things will be just a few words merely. And these are some pictures that we have taken. Right, and now these things I have taken, now we all had to submit to this particular journal a write-up about our own academies. And this is what I felt that we lack, so I am going to emphasize in that part. In the Young Academy of Argentina, they have said they get involved in national debates on science policies. And they were invited to the parliament to discuss these things, where we have never ever been invited. And then the engagement is national, and in Australia, engagement with national funding bodies. I don't think they ever take our opinion on this. Then the Young Academy in Belgium, I found it very interesting. Scientists get the opportunity to be immersed in the political world. I don't know how they do that, so it's interesting. And the members of the parliament are invited to participate in the scientist research group. So maybe next time when you have a piled up petri dishes, maybe you can think about someone to invite, maybe your friend. Then the Brazilian Academy, they provide scientific policy advice to the topics that are of critical importance, as well as the Latvian Science Young Academy, where they also talk a lot about science education and providing feedback to the national curricula. They're also highly engaged, and I think as a Sri Lankan Academy of Young Scientists, I think we lack this bit. We are not very much involved in these parts, but this year we started discussing about policy, discussing about economies, and to make sure that the young scientists are aware of these things. Our next session after the 3MT is all about getting some insights about the economy, getting some insights about the policy making and entrepreneurship, innovations, how to make use of them. So we can't now say, like, we don't know about the economic policy, no, that we don't want to know And who knows, these are not excuses anymore. The rest of the world, young academics are highly involved in these things, and they take their decisions based on these things, either when they design their projects, when they design what to do, and when they ask for grants. Knowledge about these things will come in very handy. That is something that I really learned during my visit. And next, if I move on to the struggles of the Sri Lankan young scientists, it's now real. And it is now worsening compared to a few years ago. So why do we need to protect Sri Lankan young scientists or the researcher? The Sri Lankan scientists conduct research important to Sri Lanka. Above all, this is why one of the main reasons that we should protect the Sri Lankan scientists. They are the live wire behind almost all the researches conducted in the country. They are an asset. And research and development is extremely important to a country. And unlike the past, positive outcomes of the inventions are being used for the betterment of the country now. As explained, SLAYS plays a major role in taking science and now the problems are pretty obvious. We all go through this, no local funds, getting equipment, consumables and other necessities for our research. It's really difficult. And all the journals are going open access, publications fields are skyrocketing. Even if your research is good, you cannot access good journals. And food, lodging, traveling, and everything else is very expensive. And it was very disheartening for me to know this time. Some scientists, young scientists, were struggling to join this conference because we had a registration fee of 2,000 rupees. It is not a lot. It's just making sure that you present the conference. It's just a very something small, but they have to contemplate whether they go back their homes or whether they are coming to the conference. So because everything is very, very expensive. So these factors have demotivated the Sri Lankan researcher, and like everybody else, we are also thinking of leaving the country, looking for better options. Right, now SLAYS, we thought about what we can do to support whoever who's willing to work here, whoever who's willing to do research important to Sri Lanka, and then came the idea of the global arm. So we extended our requirement to the SLAO, Sri Lankan Association of Oregon, that we would like to launch something called the global arm, where we could get support from you. They were very happy to hear that they could help the Sri Lankan young scientists. And it's our latest initiative to connect science enthusiasts beyond the borders towards a sustainable world, a platform to strengthen SLAYS from a global perspective through individual organizational affiliations of mutually beneficial endeavors. So it was launched on the 12th of November 2022 in Portland, Oregon. So SLAYS Global Arm promised, they were very enthusiastically promised us to provide the expertise, connect with the scientific community, assist in making collaborations for research when the need arises, support Sri Lankan young scientists by providing necessary equipment, including good quality equipment. SLAYS would like to create now already we have created a platform to connect these scientists and the members of the Global Arm. Promised to give the monetary assistance. They helped us with for the conference as well. So sponsorships for SLAYS events and community outreach programs, they're very much willing to help, but we have to make sure a very sort of a correct platform is created for them to interact. And SLAYS will never be working with, handling money for the scientists. We will be creating the platform for them to interact. And then thereafter, the scientists and the Global Arm member will have to take it forward. And we created a Facebook page called Help Us Young Scientists in Sri Lanka. Now, what you can do is you can go here, you can like this Facebook page, you can go there, and you can just write down whatever your requirement is. Maybe you can say, I need this sort of a machine. Maybe you can write, I am struggling with my monthly stipend, if there's anybody who's willing to help. So we will make sure that we find all your proper details and the credibility will be checked, and we will connect you to a Global Arm member. So this Global Arm launch happened in 2022 November. Then all of us were really busy with the conference work. So after the conference, we'll be touching upon this. So till then, what you can do is go and like this page and make sure that you post your questions there. So we have a bundle of questions. Then we'll make sure that the credibility is checked. And then SLAYS can promise you all we'll do that service for you. You are connected to a Global Arm member. So these are some pictures. And this is our website. And tonight, in the Science Industry Conclave that's supposed to happen, we'll be launching the SLAYS corporate arm. So if you have not brought tickets for this, it's all sold out, so I'm sorry. So there we are going to invite the corporates to join with SLAYS, and it's going to be a mutually beneficial thing. The industry partner and the scientists both will have to benefit, and we are going to create a platform again for the Sri Lankan young scientists. However we can, we are trying to help you all. So stay with SLAYS and make sure that you are in contact with us through our specifically that Help a Young Scientist Facebook page. And that's about it, and thank you very much.